Ooh, that's a little bit bright. See if that worked out a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we are. Do 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 do. Whoa, easy, buddy. Easy, buddy. All right. Welcome to a Fifth Jack Gaming, where we're gonna be just having a live party going on here. I got my lovely assistant problem situation right over here. Most of the time that we've ended up cutting it down. If he makes his way over here, he makes his way over here. If he doesn't, well, he doesn't. So we got a few boxes that we got. That's from OPB, which is Organic Price Books, which we can end up using a nice handy dandy banner where you can use a code of Fifth Jack, save $2 off. Or you can, if you have 4 or more books, you can use the code Jacket Together to get 5% off your entire order instead. Orders over $30 end up getting free shipping. So it's going to be a nice little way to help us, help you, help everyone. But let's see if we got anything. All right, all in one nerdy. Try and make it. Hey, if you don't end up making it, we'll have it on the rebound, so we'll have a nice little going on here. Hide that bad boy. So we're all caught up with the comment section. I'm not expecting a huge turnout for it. Like I said, it's more of an impromptu thing. I'm planning on cleaning up this entire room. So I wanted to take the boxes and get rid of them. And that's why we're doing an impromptu stream. Plus, I would love to be able to set up for the monthly haul for next month. And let's be honest, with it, I got to take the opportunity while I can end up taking it. Hey, this little guy is being a pain in the butt. But we got 2 different boxes. 3 different boxes. So you can go up there, grab the boxes like we have here. So the big one is going to be at the end. We have some announcements that's going to come out with that. So with that said, let's go ahead, get her going, hit it on with it. If we have people that join up, I'm expecting to keep this around like a 20-minute mark. And don't mind the back sound if that's coming over. Well, let's see if that works out a little bit better. Don't mind the little back sound because, like I showed, I got a little kitten that's going over here that's going to be playing around with everything, trying to make a whole bunch of sounds. So I apologize ahead of time for that. Oh. Big box went down. So with that, we're going to crack open this first little box right here that we can say that we ended up picking up from the OPB sale that we're going to end up dashing into and be able to cover real quick. So that's going to be part of our time that we're going to end up having. That sale is always changing. So this is their OPB box that they end up having. It's a double wall box that you can end up having right there. This time around, we got some space peanuts. We got regular peanuts that are biodegradable, but that's not the end of the world. Because, like I said, you can end up putting it underwater and they'll end up evaporating and going away. We got an invoice. We don't need that. And we're going to start off with some good old classicness that Jake from Brave and the Boys, we ended up chatting a little bit about stuff. And finally ended up convincing myself to pick up this honker of a book. And when I mean honker, I mean a honker. Slide the peanuts off. Whoa, buddy. It's the Fourth World Omnibus by Jack Kirby. So why the Fourth World? Well, we're reading the New Gods. Obviously, you can't have that. That's not good for you. So we got that. We ended up reading Mr. Miracle. And all that's going to stem over from this omnibus that we're going to end up having. The Fourth World is where the Mr. Miracle comes from. And the New Gods and all that setup. Then we picked up an art book here. It is Masters of the Universe Revelations. I would love to get the other ones just to have the complete set that comes along with it. And it'll be a nice little art piece because I love this series. It was a nice series. I probably watched the entire series a good 15 times. If you don't know about this Netflix series, it's by Kevin Smith that ends up doing it. And then you also end up having 3 different seasons. I believe they have the introduction, Revolutions, Revelation, or the regular one, then Revelations, and then you also have something when they end up bringing back the Magic to Eternia. But it's a good, solid story that comes along with it. It also continues on from the original He-Man or the Masters of the Universe. And it has some of the original voice actors that was in there as different roles. For instance, the person that plays or voices Mossman was the original voice for Skeletor in this series. So that's a nice little pickup. So we're coming out of the gates pretty strong. And while we're talking about the sale, let me close up this box. Biggest problem with a peanut is the cat wants to run away with it. No peanut for you. But okay. Slide those on over. Woo. Fourth World's definitely a chunker. And now we'll end up doing some little shenanigans. So go over here. Present. Slides. Share screen. All right. So we're going to share this, guys. We're going to hit the Distribution Overstock sale. That's where we got both of those books from. Got a package deal of No Man's Land 1 and 2, which is a killer little deal. Then we got some JSA action. Lock and Key. X Factor, the original X-Men Omnibus, Volume 1. So if you're trying to collect all the Uncanny and stuff, you have a couple different options that you can end up going with. This is one of them that you could end up going down. Dazzler Omnibus. And I think actually our second box too, or our final box to tonight, is also going to be determined from this sale as well. So that's kind of exciting. Look, Cringer's being a little friggin' Malacat. Trying to take everything out over here. Micronauts. They have a little bit of everything for everyone. No. Off the computer. This thing's going to have a sale for a little bit for everyone across the board, whether you like X-Men, Spider-Man. Obviously, it's just not just Marvel as well, because you also have some DC stuff. Very little of DC stuff, though. Wonder Woman, a deluxe copy, so that's going to be about the same size, not as thick as an omnibus, but it's going to be the same size. This Green Hell is going to be more of a magazine size kind of book. I actually have that right here. Let me jump on over here real quick. I actually have that right here. And that's going to be one of those little awkward sizes. This is going to be the black label. That's something that's got replaced over from that. Hey, Mike, how's it going, bud? We're heading over, breaking down the distribution sale real quick. We hauled the Fourth World and He-Man. An absolute. And like I said, don't mind a little chaos that's going on here. Got a new little kitty. The new little kitty's trying to jump around, be up in the face and everything. There you go. I don't know how chilled coffee is going to end up being, but hey, you coming up here? This is how chilled we're going to end up being. We're going to this guy that's got to be causing chaos all the time. His name's a little Cringer, but right now he's acting like a little battle cat. Hey, don't you take out the mic. So you hear jingling? Well, that's his bell. And you hear any other chaos that's going around here? Well, that's him causing it. That's also part of the reason why I'm doing this more impromptu, because I want to get the boxes out of here, get it all cleared out. That way I don't have to worry about that. And then tomorrow we also have a kitty cat that's getting fixed a bit. So try to get anything that could end up making a mess and to actually delay that any bit. Back to what we have, the OPB sale. That's right. You got some good stuff. You got some independent stuff. You got some arts that's going to be from other series. You even got a role-playing game with the Marvel Multiverse. Some Hulk goodness. Some Captain Marvel goodness. Yay. Settle down. Hopefully. Oh, maybe not. Back it up. There's 11 pages altogether that we have of this sale that's going on. This is what I just picked up, the Revelations. Hi, little buddy. Hi, little buddy. Nice. I off the computer. No computer time for the kitty cat. I said no computer time for the kitty cat. Making this a little chaotic here, but we'll make do. All right, so that covers the sale really quick. We'll hide that. Stop sharing that. And hide that. We got that. We're all caught up with that. So yeah, we got a good old goodness going over here. We're just here to chill out, talk about it, crack some stuff open, possibly announce some stuff that we got going on, and some possibly future plans for the channel. I said no computer time. Going down. Down, down, baby. Total wavy. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa puff. Should I throw out my back, try and pick up this last box? Yeah, I kind of thought so. Geez, maybe with him running around like a battle cat and all that, I should be saying by the power of Grayskull, you pick this guy up. Oh man, my shot gave out a little bit here. So this is a heavy box because we got a lot of stuff that's inside this. We also got the hookup with OPB, where we can end up using the discount code of the Jack, or if you have 4 or more books, use the code Jackie together, which that's what we used for this bad boy. This is something that we ended up using our bigger discount code for to be able to help it out. And we got a possible hookup for something that we may be doing later on. I know OmniDog right now is streaming, and I kind of didn't really. I thought about it, but I didn't. I thought he'll be doing it at a later time, but hey. More peanuts! Oh no! Shipping invoice. We don't need that. Close the sharp object because we don't want you to be having any cuts. All right, let's see what goodies that we got hooked up with here. We got an extra copy of Three Jokers. It's a hardcover. So I'll talk a little bit more about this after we show everything. We got a deluxe copy of the Long Halloween Black Edition. Whoa! And we got a new deluxe copy of the New Frontier. Have to see how this stacks up against my older copy. So we'll have a comparison video that's going to come on with that. And here's the goodness that we ended up ordering. Like I said, I used the discount code of 5th Jack or Jacket together on this. So here we go. It's definitely something that's going to be in a future thing of a Target down with Black Panther Volume 2 by Christopher Priest. We have Volume 1. We finally were able to get the Volume 2 to connect that with. You can't eat that. This is not kitty food. Cringer, you son of a gun. We're attempting to wrap our collection of Thor. We got as modern as we're going to go with Thor by Cates and Klein. I like this better than I liked his Hulk run. His Hulk run I was meh with because I knew it was a different dynamic that he ended up going with. But I loved his Thor run. And I ended up picking this up in the singles. But this is going to go nice against our Jason Aaron Thor because that's where we're going to end up plugging it. We have one more book that we're thinking about picking up of Thor, and then we'll be done collecting Thor. Cringer? No. Nobody. No. Say no to the peanuts. Slide it over. I see why he did that. And then we have the Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman. This is going to go right good with our Ultimate collection. Owies! Owies. Since we have the Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men is finishing up with this volume, I think. Cringer, you're driving me nuts. Oh, it's a good thing these are non-toxic. Okay, you're going down. Please stay down. Please don't claw up my leg. What you're probably gonna do. And the final book, New Mutants Volume 3. This looks like it's the DM cover. And it has a little cannon fireball going on with it. So we got cannonball and I want to say sunblast. But we got some goodness. We got to be able to wrap up our thing. I can't remember what was the other book. I think we had it in a previous haul that we ended up getting. I'm digging in here because you never know. Never know with those guys over at OPB. Okay. Close this up. Make it as key-proof as I can. So the DM ended up having I always liked the bookmarks. I ended up collecting the entire first wave of those is what we ended up doing. You just joined up. Hey, it's awesome. I know you normally end up going over with that. Going over to OmniDog, and I know he's going to be streaming anytime now. I don't know if he is streaming. Main reason I was like opening these boxes up is because I have a kitten or a cat that's going over for getting fixed, and then I have a newer kitty, which makes it a hard time. And if you've been watching, it's been like a little battle cat. His name is Cringer, but he's been a little battle cat, a little pain in the butt trying to run around. And yeah, you. Okay. Mister, you don't need to be going crazy. Need to chill. You. But yeah, he's been the reason that I've been having a little bit of a hard time trying to get a little bit of content going on. Thank God I got a little ahead of time before he ended up coming around. But I got a cat that's getting fixed, so I got to try cleaning out the room a little bit. And then I got to try making sure I got rid of any of the bigger boxes that I have space-wise. So that's why we had an impromptu last-minute live stream. What I ended up doing is the first things I opened up. Slide those down here because those weren't part of the haul. Was the He-Man book, the art book, which most of the people won't be super excited about it. I loved the Netflix show, so I wanted to make sure I had something that I could put on the table. I kind of wish I got the other two if they came out with the two other ones, because this is I want to say number 2 out of that. But I love the art of that. I love the story and everything that came out of that. And when you actually reforged, because this right here, where you see Hammond with 2 separate swords, the power sword ended up having separate. And we ended up learning that it has 2 halves, where some of it went down into the dark and the other stuff went up above. And it's something that Jay kind of convinced me picking up. Was the Fourth World. Yes, I ended up leveling that. Yes, the He-Man Omnibus does need a reprint. I have it, but the spine is not the greatest right now. It looks like it's going to be falling apart. That's one of those I need to learn how to put it together. Jake convinced me to be able to pick this up because Mr. Miracle was amazing. I love that, and I wanted to get more stuff about that. Hey, Cringer. That's enough. I'm trying to talk here. Yeah, it is a big book. I think it's over 1,500 pages. As Omar would like it, thicker than a Snicker. I mean, yeah. I hope so. I got like Mr. Miracle ended up making me want to be reading this, and with me reading New Gods as well, that kind of really put more stuff into it. I think this is going to be one of those that I'm going to slowly pace myself into reading it. I don't know if I'm going to ultimately review it on the channel or not, but maybe. And then what you probably just missed, I mean, I know you saw the New Mutants because you loved the cover that had, what is it, Shaw and Magneto fighting with one another. I wanted to get this to wrap up that entire process and everything with the New Mutants, and I'm a big Magic fan, so the first one, it gives you the origins and the starting of Magic. The second one is the more minimum, and this is the end of it, I guess. I recently cracked open my first omnibus, the New 52 Flash. Not too bad, but bigger than I've been used to. Yep, they can end up becoming little chunky boys. And I'm pretty sure I'll end up enjoying it. It's going to be a pretty big read, like I said. However, something that isn't a big read is this Ultimate Marvel by Hickman. This is going to be wrapping up that. I think they have that on the sale too, on the distribution sale. There, Alex, I know you're in a little area that's a little bit more challenging for that. Pretty much all this is all that. I also picked up Thor by Cates and Klein. If you ask me, this is better than his Hulk run. His Hulk run was kind of a little bit different for me, and I actually did enjoy his Thor. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end my path on Thor because we have JMS / Gillen, then we have Fraction, then we have Jason Aaron, and now we have Cates. We may be picking up the Walt Simonson run of Thor. I was lucky enough to find the Beta Ray Bill cover that I ended up wanting, and I've been trying to get that. And then the final book that we ended up picking up is Black Panther Volume 2 by Christopher Priest. We ended up finally finishing that out. We got Volume 1 all over there too. So the collection got wrapped up with that. Yeah. I'm excited about that. I ended up diving more into it. That's a common thing that I was hearing, and that's something I wanted to try adding over to it. But I had to have the Beta Ray Bill cover. I just had to have that going on because that has him in there, and that's something. If they ever came out with like a OOC or anything of the Beta Ray Bill by DWJ, I would jump on the opportunity for that as well. However, OPB did hook us up with a couple other goodies. We got a deluxe copy of The New Frontier, which I think is Jake's favorite book from Brave and the Boys. A deluxe copy of The Long Halloween. And finally, but not least, a hardcover. Nice. A hardcover back or a hardcover of the Three Jokers by Batman. So we're going to do something special with this guy. We are sitting at, let me get this set up here real quick. Opening a new tab. Oops. Let me see if that comes over. Perfect. And come back over to there. And then we'll end up sliding here. We'll go present, share screen, and we'll show this. I'll touch on that a little bit. But what our game plan is right now we're sitting at 164 subscribers. That's right. We're sitting at a decent amount. We want to get our goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. But we're going over 250, 500, and then 1,000. So what's going to be happening is there's two things that's going to be going on. So first one is going to be something I hate to be saying it's going to be in the States because I'm going to pay for the shipping itself. But if we get to 250, I'll be giving away this bad boy. So this copy will end up going over to the person with the sweepstakes that we end up having. We'll know that sweepstakes is active because I'll have already view, already in a can, all ready to go of this book. And that would also announce the giveaway. So we get in that at 250. That's what our benchmark is going to end up being for this guy. And then at 500, we're going to give away this guy, which is going to be Batman The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And then at 1,000, I know this is thinking a long-term plan. I have two different copies. I don't know which one I'm going to end up keeping. I got the older copy and I got a newer copy. I'm going to make a comparison video of the two that's going to be going, but I'll be giving away either an open or a used copy of the New Frontier at the 1,000 mark. So this is going to be a deluxe copy. I'm going to be looking at that, checking that out, seeing which one I end up liking, make a comparison video so we can be seeing the couple that goes along with it. There's one that has newsprint, and I think this has the regular print that comes over with it. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so let's get caught back up with the chat real quick. Never heard of him. So the big thing is, it's like I'll be giving that away. Like I said, it has to be in the States because I'm going to end up paying for shipping. I'm not expecting you to pay for shipping or anything like that, but I'll be giving that away. The DC, like I said, New Frontier will be at 1,000. Long Halloween will be at 500. And the Three Jokers is going to be at 250. Like I looked over here, I'm sitting at 164. If we could get to 250, I'll be awesome because we'll be going down the right way that was going over with it. And like I said, 1,000 would be amazing. 1,000 would be amazing. So maybe you could end up winning a copy. Maybe. Hey, what's going on, Labruski? Boop, boop. Thank you. Yeah, I got a huge collection, and I can't wait for the update video. I kind of tempted to be waiting. I know I'm going to wait till December because I was using that for a birthday. It'll end up being the update that I would have to the collection to be able to show everything that we have. We got a very well-rounded going on right now, so that's where I'm excited with the collection. I mean, you see this over here, you have that, and then I have more behind the computer, and then I got some in the hallway. Holy smokes. Not much. We're just trying to show everything that we ended up having with that. We got this going on. We're going, this is obviously an unboxing that we ended up having. But if we get to grow this number, it will be awesome. I'll be happy. Stop sharing that. We ended up cracking some good boxes to get right back over on task, to get a little definition with it. There was a two-prong process that we ended up having. We have a good old haul that we ended up having. We got the Fourth World Omnibus, New Mutants Volume 3, the Ultimate Hickman Omnibus, Thor Omnibus, and the Black Panther Omnibus. And then we also announced the 2 or 3 different giveaways that we're planning on. We have a 3-tier goal that's going to be happening. At 250, we got a copy of the new Jokers that's going to be given out. At 500, we're going to have the Long Halloween. So what's going to happen? These two, I'm going to guarantee that they're both going to be sealed. Obviously, you're not going to have to worry about that. This is going to be at 250, 500, and then over at 1,000, we'll have a deluxe along with some other shenanigans that's going to be included, because 1,000 is a huge thing. I do want to give a congratulations over to the Brave and the Boys, where he ended up hitting 10,000 subscribers on his channel, which is awesome. So we're trying to work our way, trying to get up there and trying to do reviews. It's important to say the new Jokers, the giveaway, once that goes off, we're also going to have a book review that's going to announce the giveaway. We won't have a separate announcement because I'll end up reviewing, because I have a copy of that myself. So I'll end up reading that, reviewing it, and then we'll end up giving out the giveaway. We're just just shy of 100 people that we have to end up having to go with it. So if we end up giving a share, a like, and stuff like that, that'd be awesome. But that's enough about that. How's everyone doing? In this haul, I will have to say I'm going to eliminate Thor because I've already read it in the singles. So I kind of did a little classic double dip with that. Black Panther, Hickman, Ultimate Hickman. I would have to say, especially with the likeness that I have lately with it, is going to end up being the Fourth World. It is going to be the book that I am most excited about, because I know it's going to be the most troublesome for me, because it's going to be the older art and stuff like that. But it's Jack Kirby. It's the King Jack Kirby with that. But I'll get more of a concept that's behind the Fourth World itself, because Darkseid's always been a character that I've been interested with. And now reading Mr. Miracle kind of ended up making me liking that a little bit. And then the New Gods is also a new story that I kind of ended up liking. And I love to begin that background that's going to go over with it. Now, I don't think I'm going to go much farther into the Fourth World than this. I kind of been suggested to stay away from the other stuff and just go with this as my main background for that. And that's what I'm going to plan on doing. So this, I'm most excited that I'm going to end up reading. I haven't read it. It's a Chungus boy. It's going to be, 1,500 pages? But I've been told it's 1,500 pages of goodness, especially by Taylor Tuck's comics. He ends up loving that classic stuff. What would be something that you would be excited to read? Uh-oh, we're under attack again. You going to jump up on the books, or are you going to be... Reading the Fourth World after Kirby is like reading the Watchmen after Moore. Yeah. So the funny part is I've never been a big Watchmen fan, but I also understand that it has its plot that ends up going over with it. I'll probably end up trying to revisit that at some point to see if I feel like the same way with it, because like the new Avengers by Bendis. That was something that I ended up running into that I didn't care for it when the first time I read it. And this latest time that I ended up reading it, I enjoyed the story. And for the most part, the general gist of it. Uh-oh. That's awesome, Alex, to be able to pick up that up. I thought about that, but I didn't want to go too far in deep. I already have the Avengers by Hickman, and then I also have the Savage Avengers, and then I picked up the New Avengers like before I ended up getting hardcore into the hobby because I think it's one of those books I paid full price for it because I ended up ordering it off of Amazon years, maybe even decades ago. It's whenever it got first printed, I ended up picking it up. No, buddy, you can't end up being up there. Really want I have the deluxe. A deluxe is the good way of reading it. I know Jake is also about the absolute, and I know that's one of Jake's favorite stories. I enjoy it, honestly. And I think there's going to be stuff that you're going to go over and you're going to see the art. And then also see how, well, illusion can always end up coming up or end up winning. But yeah, that's a nice solid way that comes over with that. Kitty cat coming over and attacking. So, Alex, you got Avengers. Mike, did you end up getting anything new? Man, this is just a chill rip. Lay back and deal with the kitty day. Uh-oh, you're going to fall. Ow. Yow. Which Aquaman? Did you end up picking up the Peter David or the Jeff Johns? Because the Jeff Johns one I've read, and that was pretty good. Especially since I inspired the first Aquaman movie. Oh, we just finished that. That's the Hindenburg, right? In Chung. I just finished that. I think honestly that Young Avengers is better. Yeah, I can see you ended up loving the A. But yeah, that Younger Avengers, I enjoyed that more than I did the New Avengers. Yeah. There's also another one that has Gillen and McCleve on it, which I also have that one. That's a smaller book. That's something that I was interested in reading. I ended up starting the Young Avengers for a book club. We ended up reading this time around is Daredevil by Soul, and I really, really want that. And I ended up putting it higher up. All right. It was Jeff Johns. That's going to be a good one. I love The Trench. That's pretty much the big favorite out of that entire omnibus. And that's something I ended up loving with it. The foil covers of The Flash and Supergirl issues from Crisis. Nice. And found a foil version of Mission. Nice. I still got to go back and read that. I enjoyed that, but the art kind of ends up knocking me out of the book for that Absolute Manhunter. But it's something I have on the pull, so I'm going to reasonably be getting that. And hopefully I end up getting used to it because I did love what I've read. What was the ongoing Ultimates? I love the Ultimates that's coming out of that. I probably should end up doing and dive into the Ultimates as well, but I don't know. There's so much stuff I want to do. Yeah. I liked the story enough where I was going over with it. It's just the art was so jarring for me for that absolute Martian Manhunter. Felt like I was on an acid trip the entire time looking at it. But yeah, that's what Camp writing that. That's the person that ended up writing the Ultimates is for Marvel, I believe, is that. And I know you're onto a new job, Lebrowski, but have you ended up reading any of that little mini haul that you ended up having for that mini haul that you ended up picking up? I think that's the main reason why a whole bunch of people end up liking it. Because I feel like I'm in the minority that I'm the person that's complaining about the hard art and all that. But the common thing is that people did love the art that came out of it for that absolute Martian Manhunter. Geez, he's winding right down. Little Battlecat's becoming back over to Cringer mode. But yeah, we can chill, talk. If you guys want to talk about anything, we can end up talking about it. I got a few minutes yet that I can end up wrapping it up. That's why I like the Absolute Universe as well. Every book has a very distinct art style. I agree. I love how that ends up being. I like the Absolute where it ends up having a new line that you can end up starting with it. It definitely reminds me of the Ultimate Universe where that ended up having a very different stories that you can end up coming out with it without having the entire background or like Batman, for instance, have that entire hazard of how much of a history that he has and how deep it goes into. I have to say, what's your guys' favorites of the Absolute line of what you've read so far? So in the Absolute line, we have Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, and Flash so far. Okay, Wonder Woman and Batman. It's a little bit different of a take of the Batman and the Wonder Woman. I've read the first two Flash, but so far mentioned Manhunter for sure. I don't get to Flash yet. For me, it's I won't I don't want to dissuade anyone from being able to read something like that. Um, for me, the least impact ones for me is going to be Superman and the Flash so far. Martian Manhunter, I'm interested into because obviously there's not much stuff out there Martian Manhunter wise, so that's kind of unique that goes on with that. My favorite so far, I would say it would be the absolute Wonder Woman, especially taking a different background, different way of that. She comes over with it, and the storyline and the development that she ends up having is kind of a little bit crazy, and I kind of enjoy that. I recently read Dead Earth, which we ended up reviewing. I love that story. That was pretty amazing. I am now working on what is it? Historia. That's the one next big one I'm going to end up reading. We're going to end up reviewing. And then I'm also planning on doing a comparison of which one we think that's going to end up being better because it's the same size. It's part of the same title line, I guess it is, with the Black Label, which now is getting replaced with Vertigo, but that's a little craziness. But that's over by Jeff Lemire too. I ended up having that somewhere over here. What the Kitty and his shenanigans ended up probably dropping off my volume 2 somewhere, or my issue 2. See, I'm running into a situation is I like to have a representation of each character. At least run is what my goal is. I ended up going for Gail Simone's run on Wonder Woman as a representation of that. But I really want to pick up the Rucka's one once that comes around. I want to pick that up and then wrap that up. I ended up picking up Jeff Johns for Aquaman because, well, it was the main thing that was inspiring, and that's the best I've heard it end up hearing. But I also want to pick up the Peter David's run on that and to wrap that over with it. Green Arrow, I was going to end up just going one route, but then shenanigans with Amazon and getting an omnibus for $60 was very, very tempting. So I ended up picking up the Archer's Quest Volume 1. So I got to get Volume 2 to be able to wrap that up. Long Bone Hunters, I picked up both of those volumes. Batman, I'm getting around to getting to where I'm happy book-wise for him. Green Lantern is going to be something that we end up probably going a little bit deeper into because I want to pick up John's run of 1 through 3. And then I also have Blackest Night, which was going to be the representation of Green Lantern. But I have that, and that could be a good bookend that comes over with that. So, and that's just DC. Marvel, I went a lot heavier with Thor. Because, yeah, like I said, I ended up going with Straczynski's Fraction and Aaron. And now we have Kate's, which we got that in the single issues, and now we're going to end up having that in the trade that we ended up picking up. I have been super selective about what I read because if I like something, I know I'll end up buying all their books. Yep. And that's the thing I'm running into. I'm running into that I liked it in the single issues, and I went to feel it out with the single issues, and I got hooked. And then they came out with a hardcover, which I was able to step away from. And then they come out with a deluxe, and then an omnibus. Like one that I'm probably super tempted to pick up is what is it? The Dark Knights of Steel or the Dark Knights. It's the Game of Thrones style by Tom Taylor of the entire Trinity being all together and stuff like that. But they have a deluxe that's coming out this month, and I kind of want to pick that up. But I know he's also added more to it, so it's going to end up being a omnibus at some point. But I also picked up the single issues where I end up having the single issues of that. And I'm thinking if we end up growing this big enough, that I'll end up including more stuff like that. Because if I end up picking up the deluxe, and then it ends up becoming a omnibus, I'll probably end up giving that as a giveaway that will go over with that. It's going to be the way I'm going to solve that. But yeah, I understand that diving deep into it. That's just like Daredevil too. I read Frank Miller's, and that's going to only be a one volume, and now I'm collecting the entire run of that. Silence is golden. All that chaos, and now he's falling asleep in the lap. But talking about buying books, if you go to OrganPriceBooks.com, use the code FIFAJack, you save $2 off. If you have 4 or more books, use the code Jacket Together, and you'll save 5% off your entire order. Also, orders over $30 end up getting free medium mail shipping, so you can end up having the entire bomb-proof experience with OPB, and you end up seeing how amazingly they end up taking care of their customers. So this is where I would normally end up going over exactly what we have in the haul and hold the haul, but our little battle cat ended up passing out and going over with it. Recently set up my first pull list. That's exciting. Like, amazingly going over with it. What'd you end up having on your pull list, bud? What'd you end up starting? Because I think they normally start off with like 4 titles that you have to start off with. At least my experience is that with that. My pull list kind of is a little bit bigger than what I like it to be, but League of Comic Geeks. Well, they have 2 books coming out this week. So that's going to be a need at a random. I have to say, what you ended up at, and get back over to the tab. All right, Absolute Flash. That's one I'm thinking about adding over to it. Absolute Manhunter. I got that on my pull. Vigilante and Eagle-Eye. I have no clue about those 2. But these first 2 I ended up knowing because you have a Jeff Lemire and you have a Daniel Camp that's going to be going over with it. I like getting to pick the covers. That's awesome. Then you get to pick specific covers. Thundercats, they have a new one that has incentive covers that I want to end up collecting. I don't know where in the room I'm going to end up putting it because, like, it's pretty jam-packed into it. Oh, it's based on... Okay. Oh, Vigilante. Okay, I got it now. And Eagle-Eye, that's his little pet eagle that he ends up having in Vigilante's was, what would you say, best friend? But yeah. I'm excited for next month because we're also getting the Thundercats, the classic years omnibus that should be coming out. Should be is the key word. It's something that was on Backer Kit, so it's a project that we ended up bagging up. So, and a single issue of Long Halloween. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Why? Oh no. As I say, I just picked up the Loeb omnibus. That's why we ended up giving up the long Halloween, the deluxe, because I got the omnibus that has the entire thing with Dark Victory and all that. It's not that bad. I think it's going to be a rabbit hole that it's going to end up causing you want to end up having more and actually reading more of the story. Because let's put this guy down. Let's see what we got here. Does this have the print size for it? No, it does not. I want to say it's got to be 3-4 issues is what that's going to end up being. But like this deluxe copy is going to end up including that. That's going to be in there. However, this is going to be very tempting. Okay. In a mystery taking place during Batman's early days of crime fighting, master tellers Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale craft one of the greatest Dark Knight stories ever told. This new hardcover edition includes the first 13 issues of the miniseries with 30 pages of behind-the-scenes extra. So you got 1 of 13 is what you ended up getting before you end up getting an entire long Halloween story. And then you have Dark Victory and stuff like that that's going to be going over with it. Oh, you're looking to get... Oh, okay. For some reason, I was thinking of just 1 issue. I'm like, oh no, not just 1 issue. That's something you want to end up having the entire story. So you got 13 issues that you're going to end up picking up. I think I actually have that as another book too. I think I have the Long Halloween Noir version. I didn't realize why Noir is it, but it's something that has just the art, just lines and stuff like that that's out of it. All right, so we're going to wrap her up here. Like we said, we ended up hauling over some good old books that we had on a list. The foil is something that's super weird. I will end up wanting to pick up, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because then I'll have to replace everything into a foil cover. And I'm like, nope, not going down that. So we picked up Thor by Cates and Klein. We have Rucka's Volume 2 of Black Panther, Ultimate Hickman Stories, The New X-Men Volume 3, and then we also have The Fourth World Omnibus and the art book for the He-Man, which isn't so exciting. But then we also ended up announcing that we're going to end up having 3 giveaways that we're going to end up having. One's going to be at $250, which is going to be the 3 Jokers, the hardcover of that. That will come over with a review that's going to announce it and what you end up doing for it. Once we get up to $250, and then at $500, we're going to have the Long Halloween that's going to be given away. And then at $1,000, we're going to be giving away a copy of the deluxe copy of the New Frontier. I can't believe I forgot what that was. But that's going to be something that's going to be good old treats that we'll be going over with it. It's a good way of helping you guys out. Thank you helping me get into the stage, trying to get there. And honestly, if we don't end up getting there, that's okay too. Because the thing is that we'll just keep on working, trying to get better about it. So thank you, Mike and Alex, for stopping by during the live stream, and also Lebrowski, or All in One Nerd. Thank you for also stopping by. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a huge turnout for this because, like, I saw that Omnidog was going and a couple other things. The big reason that we ended up doing this is because I needed to get the boxes out. That way I could clean the room and make it as kitty proof as I can. You have a great night as well. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you, Alex. You have a good day and night or whatever it is. I think you're over in Australia or what. But either way, if it's day, night, afternoon, whatever it is, have a good one. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.